back to another amazing episode at PrepTalk Podcast. I'm your host, Vartika Bhandari, back with another Tirella's Alumni podcast, where the students share their experiences of their college and universities. Today we have with us Viren Arora, who just completed his freshman year at Boston University and is doing a triple major in mathematics, economics, and computer science. So he's here with us to share his experiences at Boston University. So without further ado, let's get started. Hi Viren, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Vartika. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we are excited for the podcast. So we'll start with the first question. So would you like to give us a brief introduction about yourself and what have you done over the years and how did you get to the Boston University?
So it's very important to know that I was very dumb kid
Okay.
back in like year 6, year 7, like really dumb. I would say I started getting into my academic prime maybe like year 9, year 10.
Okay.
That's when I started with my first goal, and I worked on it, and it took me 2 years, but I achieved it. And then on to the next, and on to the next, and on to the next. But okay, so I did my IGCSEs, and I did IB, and now I'm studying econ, math, and computer science at BU. And it was a long and tough journey with a lot of obstacles, but that's the fun of it.
Right. A great introduction, Viren, must have to say that. So, what motivated you to narrow down to Boston as a final university? Because a lot of students apply to so many colleges and you end up getting a lot of acceptances. So, how and why was Boston University your final choice?
Well, I was very lucky because after I had my acceptances, I took a trip to visit all the universities where I was accepted and waitlisted. And well, I know it is not always feasible, but if you think about it, you're gonna spend 4 years of your life at the university before committing to it. So I would say it is 100% worth it to make that trip. And it's an investment in yourself. And because before that trip, I was leaning towards going to Purdue, which was another very strong academic, challenging course for like computer science at least. And after I visited Purdue, which was a great town, the fight is great and everything. Campus is beautiful, and it's amazing. Like the technology and stuff they have there is absolutely ridiculous. But but living in a suburb far from the city, I realized that okay, maybe that is not the smartest decision for me personally. You have to envision living there for the next 4 years because it is a significant part of your life and it is gonna affect your entire future. When I was so I visited a lot of other universities too, like Northeastern, Babson's, NYU, and other places. But so the reason I picked BU was because it was like a sweet compromise between both. It wasn't as so BU is a city campus, definitely. It's very close to the city center, and I love that. There's a T station in front of my dorm, so like I'm 2 stations away from downtown, which is fantastic. And BU sort of, I would say, does also have a campus. Like it's sort of. It is the biggest one in Boston, but it does sort of have a campus. Not so it's like a hybrid campus, I would say, which was pretty great. And the other decision, which arguably might even be more important, is you have to first of all consider your academics, what you want to pursue. And my initial choice that I initially applied to for all unis in US was economics. And BU is definitely one of the better universities for economics. And the reason why I think I did US over UK was by the end of IB, I fell in love with computer science also. So I was sure, I was sure that I wanted to do a double major, and there's no way I could do that at the UK. So I basically withdrew my UCAS application. I didn't even wait for the results once all my US decisions were out. So why BU is because I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to do the double major, because it at the time it felt like a huge commitment without experiencing the college life. I wasn't really sure about it, so I didn't want to gamble on what I already had, which is why I picked BU.
Right.
In a nutshell.
Right. Great decision. So, with that, a transition from being an Indian student living with their parents and then going to the university and being all on your own is huge. Plus, there is a cultural shock as well involved in the entire process. How did you deal with that, and how was the entire process of that transition?
Well, for me, I feel like the transition was quite simple. And that happened because I got a great start.
Okay.
And I feel like it is very important for all the students to get a great start. And one of the best ways you can get acclimated to your new environment is to make a bunch of friends. So as soon as I got to uni, instead of worrying about moving in, getting my stuff, I let my parents worry about this stuff.
Okay.
And I went straight to meeting people on campus. I met so many people, juniors, seniors, sophomores, doesn't matter. I just made friends everywhere. And but honestly, I made so many friends, it was unimaginable. Till this day, people come up and say hi to me. I don't even know who they are because I don't remember them.
Right.
Though, and okay,
Good answer.
sorry. And okay, people who walk around campus will know this.
Yeah.
But okay, that's also not because I'm a bad friend. It's because I have a terrible memory.
Yeah, okay.
So that's just.
So how did you make so many friends? Because if I understand, there are two sorts of people, introverts and extroverts. You clearly are a super extrovert person. No? How did you make friends? Introvert people have a problem walking up to people and making a small talk, and then let alone making a friend out of that person.
I would say everybody had become an introvert because of the pandemic. So my entire school life was online. I was basically not speaking to people at all. By the end of college, last year, when people were going to school just to meet people, I was like, that's a waste of time. So I was that one kid who was still online while everybody was in class, which is sort of funny. But and going from that to making so many friends was really, really crazy. So what you have to do is push yourself. So I remember I was in one of the common areas and somebody was playing a piano. I went up to him and I requested for my song, and that's how I made a friend. Another great way I made a friend was you can make friends in classes, and I 100% recommend you to do this because you will not get through without your friends.
Sure.
Even if you feel like they won't help you out or anything, study in study groups, do your homeworks together, do whatever it takes. So I remember it was okay, I'm gonna tell you a story about how I made a great friend. So it was my first macroeconomics class, and I was like, and I told I sort of prepped myself by telling that, okay, I'm gonna answer the first question. I'm gonna raise my hand no matter what he asks. I don't care, my hand's gonna shoot up. Whatever it is. Even if I get it wrong and I look completely stupid, doesn't matter. I'm gonna answer it.
Okay.
And so that way we had an interesting discussion about exports and imports and currency fluctuations and how that impacts the economy and businesses. And we had a lovely class discussion, which usually doesn't happen in colleges because they don't care about class participation. Okay. Even my professor said you can participate if you want to. There's no points for it. It's totally up to you.
Everything you do is for the points, right? You've done enough. Come to a
in
great
schools,
school.
They don't have an appraisal system.
Okay.
In college, most professors are going to give you a grading contract and they're going to follow that. And so there's 100% clarity in how you're going to be graded and what accounts for, what assignment accounts for, let's say, N percentage of your grade and how much it's going to be worth. So you know exactly what's going to boil down to your grade. So
Okay.
there's 100%, let's say, clarity. You cannot make excuses in college. In
Okay.
school, there is no appraisal system. Like I 100% even online school. The only reason teachers knew that you were actually doing and not copying off of each other is if you were answering questions in class.
True.
Like that is the only way I got like a decent enough prediction.
Of course. You have explained how you were in school. So, okay. Yeah, so make good friends and engage with people is what you're recommending because your friends are
Yeah.
your family away from family.
So actually, the person who I was arguing against, she came up to me after class and she said, "I really liked your bunch." And then she took me out for lunch and then we formed like a study group. And
Nice. That's
yeah,
sweet.
we've been friends ever since.
That's sweet. Okay, so what about the resources and support apart from the friendships that you have made in college? There must be some support provided by the college or something to help the students navigate through that transition and just be accommodated with the new place they'll be living in, the new university they'll be studying in.
Well, you always have RAs on your floors, residences, and you can reach out to them. That's standard. Every university has them.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of my friends even are that they're like on campus therapists and medical
Mhm.
professionals. If you wanna talk to somebody like that, or maybe let's say if you just have anxiety. So at BU they have this interesting program. Like they have service dogs,
Mm-hmm.
so you can go and play with them and pet them, and that's a fun time.
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise, I would say I feel like especially with Indian families, you get a lot of support through family. Like
Right.
I speak to my parents and my grandparents twice a day at least. Like
Nice.
once in the morning, once in the evening.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
That works out well for me, but everybody has to pick and choose what they want to adhere to.
Right. So, what was your battle coming to BU? What was the one difficult thing that you found adjusting to
The food,
while in BU?
the
Okay.
food is horrible in Boston. There's no
No
flavor.
Indian.
I mean, Indian food you can find it. You can't really get. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Indian food. Like
Same.
I could not.
Is it as good as India though? I really
Not at all.
Not at all.
They don't put they can't make a decent omelet to save their lives. Like they make it without salt and pepper because everybody wants them and they don't know how much. Like I get it, okay, maybe the other person doesn't need as much salt as I do.
No. Okay.
Like at least put some salt. Like how do you cook like that? I don't think. Like they put salt on the streets for for the snow, like for the ice to melt and everything. There's
Okay.
more flavor on the streets than on the clothes.
Okay. We cannot eat from the streets, right? Anyway, so what do you do now? How do you cope up? How do you cope up with that?
Okay, so that is actually a hard question. So I haven't really figured out a way to cope up with that because I don't really have a kitchen.
Okay.
What I do is I usually order out and try to eat Indian. I remember first semester finals week I ate butter chicken straight. I think every day, like for a full week.
Okay.
Okay, eating like that took a big impact on my health.
Of course.
But when I came back, I had to start working out and going to the gym. Fix that. So I would definitely recommend taking up a workout regimen or like a fitness routine because without it you're just gonna get fat.
Yeah, okay. So, okay. So talking about the academics of Boston University, how are the academics like and you doing a triple major, which is I've not heard of till now. How do you manage the entire academics and how is the academic experience in general in Boston?
Well, Boston is definitely a difficult place for academics. Like it's not easy, but the great thing is if you're motivated enough, you're gonna find the right people. Because professors they don't care about attendance. If the class size is big or small, most of them aren't even gonna give you marks for participation. In fact, they'll tell you if you don't want to come to class, don't.
Okay.
But most people are motivated and they will show up, especially at competitive universities because they're self-accountable, and that's a thing that I feel like you should learn quickly. because like okay, first semester micro class, I had full attendance, and that full attendance only gave me, and that was the only class that took attendance so far.
Okay.
Only one class out of my full year. So that I had a 2.5% bump, and on the first day of class, our professor said, if you're sick, just don't come. The extra 2.5% isn't worth anything. It's not even gonna get you a high grade.
Okay.
Yeah, but okay, jokes on him, because I did manage to get an A after screwing up the final because of the extra 2.5%. So I would say it's definitely worth going in. And that was like my 8 a.m. class, and like I managed to show up after partying all night.
Okay. All right. Okay, so talking about the extracurriculars, how are the clubs like? What are the different extracurriculars available for the students? Why are you make the face?
I feel like everything is available. Like there's nothing that you cannot not find. Like, but it's just like, it's really hard to figure out what you want to do because all that choice overwhelms. Like I joined the martial arts club, but like I didn't really continue that further because I felt like that I realized that wasn't for me. Like I didn't really want to get into, like, if I wanted to work out or do like a physical activity, I would rather do it in my own time than show up to a club. So that's an issue.
Okay, so you are doing a triple major. It can be a lot to manage. So how do you balance life in terms of being outdoorsy and enjoying life in general, and also handling your extracurriculars if you are into any, and your academics as well with a triple major?
I feel like a triple major, the way I got into it was like a gamble, I would say, because I remember like I wanted to minor in music, but like you need some expertise, like a foundational expertise, in order to be able to do that, which I wasn't sure I had. So I dropped the idea. I went to my academic advisor. What should I do? Should I minor in something else? Like, you don't necessarily have to minor. And while deciding my classes for next semester, he's like, why don't you do econ math? It's a joint major. And that way you can get 3 degrees. You only need to do 5 more classes because you have so much credit from IB. I was like, why should I do them? And okay, after I took my first math class, which was really hard, pain in the ass.
Okay.
Like, even, I mean, it was hard. Like, you're definitely gonna face a challenge, but it's how you overcome it that's important. So, like, I asked him, can I minor in math instead? He said, with the amount of credits you have, you're better off majoring in it. So I'm like, okay, I'll go through that. And that is how I adopted the triple major.
That's good. Okay. But so it's working out good for you.
I feel like, you gotta know what's gonna work for you. If not, like, I really enjoy the subjects that I study, and so it doesn't feel like work. Like, you just go to classes and pay attention, and you don't have to do anything. Like, I make my notes in class, and I don't really study after that. I just do the assignments, and I don't really. I don't know. You just don't have to. Like, usually in the evening, I'm gonna meet my friends. We go work out together. And so I've developed a very healthy work-life balance, I would say. Much better than school. Like, IB was way harder than uni, I would say.
But IB did help you in some way to adapt the curriculum.
Yeah, I got to skip all the entry-level classes, which is
a benefit.
I mean, it's beneficial if you want to do so many majors.
Even for double major, don't you think it's beneficial?
It's 100% because you are so far ahead of all the other people. If you don't have the credits, it almost seems impossible to do. It's not impossible. It seems impossible because you have to do a lot more foundational work. And the thing is, you don't really start understanding what you're gonna be studying until the higher level classes. Like, because I remember, like, intro macroeconomics was just what I did in IB, like high school stuff. But I started with the intermediate one. I started with 201, And that was something else. Like on my first day, professor said, forget everything you did in 101. This is completely different. That won't help you.
Okay.
We're gonna just forget about it because everything here is different.
Okay.
Yeah, so that way I feel like you're definitely at an advantage because you get to see early on what your majors are gonna look like, what you're gonna be dealing with.
You're right.
And that's important to know. If you are cut out for that, you can continue. If you feel like maybe your expertise are suited elsewhere, you can switch and explore a new class. Like because with BU you can do hub courses. I've done so many like other courses which aren't related to my field. Like I took a geography course, and I'm gonna take a philosophy course, which has nothing to do with what I'm doing, but
okay,
they're interesting, and so I'm exploring.
Of course. So you have like still time to explore, right? So yeah, why not? Okay, so moving on to campus life and how is it like BU? What do you guys do? Like I heard you said party, and what do you do to chill, and how is a campus life for a student over there?
Well, campus life is good. You're with your friends all the time. You can meet whoever you want. It's like total freedom. But I don't know. My favorite thing to do is when I'm blessed with a sunny day. That's like maybe once a week. I'll go out and sit in the sun for as long as I can, like hours. And people know, like, that's my favorite thing to do. Like everybody in university knows. They know if the sun is out, Viren's gonna be in Congo. Then everybody's gonna come and say hi to me in the middle of their classes. They'll sit
And
with
you
me
have no idea who that person is most of the time.
No, I do know.
Okay.
After first semester, when I came back, second semester, I remember my first morning in the cafeteria or whatever. Group of people waved hi to me. I didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
And I was meeting some other friend downstairs. I was like, get your plate. We're moving to the other end of the cafeteria. I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah, so you were just regretting your decision to just go right away and make friends at that point.
No, okay. I got to meet a lot of amazing people.
Yeah.
Like I made amazing friends. Like when I was sick, I had room service. They brought food up to my room.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. Like I never expected that. Like I didn't tell them to or anything. They just did it out of the blue, and I was like so shocked.
And just to say it out loud, they would be expecting the same from you, so you better do that.
No, I would 100% do that. Like, I mean,
that is what
I'm not hoping for them to get sick, but I will definitely return.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm also not hoping for them to get sick, but I'm just saying. Cool. And what about the parties, and how is the environment entirely like in Boston, the city?
Well, Boston is really...
What do you do to explore, and what activities do you have to do?
Well, I would say travel, like see a bunch of stuff. Like I've done some pretty fun stuff. I think I've seen everything.
Okay.
The thing is, I remember for Halloween we went to Salem for the week.
Nice.
Yeah, so I saw
everybody dressed as a witch.
So witch trials and everything. You can go to other universities too. Like I remember.
That's nice.
Like because a lot of my school friends are at Babson, the Northeastern, and other places. Even if you don't know, like you can just show up with somebody who does.
Yeah.
And you make a bunch of friends.
Right. That's cool too, because living in India, you don't get to explore the Western festivals as much. Not in a huge amount of number. You don't see small kids running in Superman dresses in the streets and everything like that. So yeah, that must have been a very nice experience being there, right?
Yeah, but that was amazing.
What did you dress as?
Oh, okay. I dressed up as a character from Peaky Blinders.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wore a long
old like
yeah,
old 19.
Yes.
Yeah, very, very old. Okay.
Yeah, so that was fun. But, people just thought I was a business major. Because that's how they walk around.
Okay, so 19. Which age was the Peaky Blinders set in? Like very.
I think 18th century.
Yeah, so that attire and a businessman attire, you cannot compare.
Well, the only thing
Okay.
that
They must just
differentiates
be
is
funny and nothing else.
no. The only thing that differentiates the attire is the
The
hat.
hat. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very British, I would say.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can have British people on campus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not saying. I'm
I've seen
just
people wear
saying
those
the
hats.
attire does not match the businessman. They must be just pulling your leg, or you must have not done the outfit right.
No. I did look like Vicky Blinders.
Okay, you had those splendors and everything.
No, I didn't.
Suspenders.
No.
Sorry.
I had a 3-piece suit
Okay.
and a long coat on top of that and
Okay.
a briefcase to go.
Okay.
But if I'm sitting in class, I remove my hat. People could just easily mistake me for a businessman.
Okay.
Like people did my.
So maybe up your game for the coming Halloween.
I mean, it's not obvious. Like I'm not wearing like a costume. Like if somebody just
Make it
glanced at me
obvious.
from a side and didn't realize I was dressed for this, like if I didn't have a hat, they would 100% think I'm a businessman.
Maybe you could be. Those are very human clothes, right? Those
Yeah,
are not
yeah.
very
They're not like
extravagant outfit.
Yeah.
So maybe go for that one and send us a picture or something. Okay. So that sounded really interesting. You have some life in Boston.
Well, I mean, yeah, you have to explore like go out. Like so on the weekends, I would go out to new restaurants, and so because you have a bunch of people that want to go out, and you can never agree where to go. So I started a tradition is that I choose where everybody goes. Nobody knows where we're going and what we're eating until we all show up at the restaurant.
And what if it goes bad?
Yeah.
They will lash out at you.
Well, now so one person picks every week. So it's like
like that. Okay. I
Everybody
thought
gets
every time you are picking.
well, most of the time, every time I end up picking because
Nice.
well, I'm definitely a foodie, and people definitely call me up for recommendation.
Okay, that's good to know. All right. So, what about the things that have you seen yourself personally grow into completing your freshman year? There must have been major changes that you would have seen in yourself. What were those, and how did it cultivated you as a better person over the year?
My experiences
As a freshman,
as a
and
freshman. I would say one thing is you really have to. One thing that I saw develop in myself was a sense of accountability. For CS especially, you can't get through the homework assignments if you don't go through office hours. So every university, or like I'm sure every course must have this, like TAs and professors on office hours. So go to them, get to know your professors. Like I'm sure you're gonna have problems in your assignments if you're doing computer science. It's just not possible to not get through that.
Of course, I
So-
can see the pain in your eyes.
Yeah, you can't do the homework if you're not like everybody. Like we have such like computer science has so many office hours. And computer science is usually the one with the big lectures. Other ones are still tiny. Like econ, you get 1 hour a week, which is fairly less compared to CS. Every single day and the entire day there's gonna be somebody with office hours. Like I don't even need to check the schedule. I just show up to the room and somebody's there.
Okay.
Yeah, and you just sit down and do your work and figure it out and whatever, and that works out well. Even like I remember during study break, every other office hours is seized except for CS because you didn't need it for people to pass the course.
Okay.
Another thing is don't get shocked by your marks, like especially if you're doing the STEM majors. Like your entire grade is based on percentile, not on percentage. Your grade is gonna be based on where you are relative to your peers, and that's like very competitive. It's gonna get competitive, really competitive.
Can you also differentiate between percentile and percentages for the clarity?
Okay, so percentile. So a percentage is just like like the proportion out of total.
Yeah.
Let's say an exam is out of 100, you get a 90. That's a 90%. But a percentile is measuring where you are vis-a-vis other data points. So, for example, let's say if there are 10 people in the class, let's say that, okay, now let's take an easier example, 100 people in a class. If you scored the second highest, you'd be like 98 percentile.
Okay.
Right? 99 percentile. So what that means is you performed higher than or equal to 98% of the people who took the test.
Okay.
So
Understood.
that's what matters. Like you have to look at where the class average is
Mhm.
and where you are relative to the average. They're usually gonna reveal these statistics,
Mhm.
the average, the median, and you have to see where you are. Like you can, if you can't figure out, you can go to the professor and ask them about it. Like even your current grade at the moment, they'll tell you. There's
Okay.
100% clarity.
That's intense.
Yeah.
That must also keep you on your toes to be good at academics when you see such kind of comparison with all the peers that you're studying with.
Yeah, well, it's motivating, but like if you like you're gonna have some bad tests. Like life is not one perfect circle.
Of
Like,
course.
like,
All right. So, talking about the internship opportunities at BU, how are those for freshman students and for like let's say for sophomore? How are they different from each other?
okay, so freshmen, you won't get any opportunity to intern. I'm gonna tell you that flat out because you don't have most students won't have the relevant experience, like even the relevant knowledge, because by the freshman year, most people don't do the intermediate classes, and in fact, if you're looking to intern in the US, most companies are only going to be hiring sophomores or juniors or seniors. Like they require you to do certain classes at your universities depending on your major. Most people don't hire freshmen, but you shouldn't get discouraged. Like you can get an on-campus job if you're really wanting to get like work experience. And if you're good in academics, you might be considered for a TA or a CA position, depending on what major it is. Maybe not for econ, because econ they only give that opportunity to grad students, PhDs. They don't provide that opportunity to undergrads, sadly. I tried for that, but didn't get it.
So, talking about your most memorable moments of your freshman year or accomplishments, what were they?
Well, most memorable moments. That's hard. It's like the entire year was just amazing. Like, so okay, yeah. That's great. That brings me on to one pro tip, and that's it's for mindfulness. Like, don't think about it as anything. This is something which I've only recently started doing, and it's because I can't answer questions like these.
Okay.
So I started journaling to write down my experiences, and the way I do it is like by only answering 3 questions.
Okay.
What went well today? What I could have improved on, and what I was grateful for. These 3 questions I answer every day.
That's so sweet. I also journal, but it's not like the way you do, but it's more extensive than that. But yeah.
No, well, I mean, yeah, it usually gets me to remember my experiences. I talk about what I'm doing. It's not necessarily for me to recount my experiences. It's more for mindfulness.
That any kind of journal works well if you do it. It's just the thing that you do it.
And I feel like you can do it for different reasons. Like the goal for journaling may be for you to increase your productivity. Or it may be like a diary where you just you're talking to yourself, having a friend. Like most journals are meant to be personal. Like good philosophers used to we only have accounts of their journal, like Marcus Aurelius and Plato. We only know about their life's work through their journals, and they were only addressed to themselves. They weren't meant to be read by the public.
Right. Okay. So with that, we end our today's podcast. Do you have any parting words with the students who are currently in the process of their education abroad?
Well, I would say explore wherever you haven't, because you never know. You're probably gonna that you might really like something. Like I had no idea about philosophy, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm taking my first course on existentialism, and I'm excited to see how that's gonna go. So I would say always explore. Like even when you're in college, you feel like you're gonna be on some solid footing. You will definitely be, but the opportunities to explore should never be missed.
Right. So with that, we leave you for today's podcast. Thank you so much, Viren, for being here. It was so much fun to have you. It was some great information and great insights.
Thank you so much.
This was interesting. Okay. And for all the listeners, I hope you had fun listening to the podcast. We had some great insights. And if you did like the podcast, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, don't forget to give us 5 stars. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.